Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey into the genesis of a science fiction story called Negative Gravity.
Yeah, and our mission here isn't just, covering the plot or the sci-fi premise.
No, not at all. It's about understanding the profound, almost unbelievable, physical and, well, philosophical struggle of the man who created it.
It really is the ultimate paradox of creation, isn't it? The source material hits you immediately with this huge contrast.
Huge.
You've got this sprawling kind of catastrophic vision of a world turned completely upside down,
Uh-huh.
all conceived by this bearded middle-aged man, a quadriplegic, who's been basically confined to a bed for 30 years.
30 years. And he talks about his life not really as an illness, but as a war. A war he fights every single day against infection, against depression.
And the way he frames it's so important, using these mythological terms.
Exactly. It's crucial to understanding his drive, I think. He compares his own suffering to the great hero Ulysses, you know?
Right, the 20 years struggle to
Yeah.
get back home to Ithaca.
Yeah. But our creator, he feels his own endurance has stretched way past that. Decades longer. So the question becomes, where is his Ithaca? What's his destination?
And he finds that answer
Yeah.
internally, really. Instead of looking for some external place, he sort of embodies the fight itself,
He becomes the fight.
pretty much.
Yeah.
He identifies himself as Aries the Ram. Astrologically, Aries metal is iron. The ruling planet is Mars, the red planet, the planet of war.
So all that physical energy he can't express, the paralysis, it gets channeled inwards into this constant internal battle.
Exactly. And that really deep-seated, painful introspection becomes the absolute catalyst for creation.
After years wrestling with this, the question finally forms, crystallizes. What can I do to become the hero of my story?
How can I create something that actually matters despite everything?
Yeah. And that single moment, that fierce impulse, that's what launches the whole negative gravity universe.
What's so fascinating, too, is how the actual idea, the core concept, is born directly from his physical reality.
Right. He's always lying there on his back, staring up at the ceiling.
And he notes how sometimes, your perspective shifts, your mind plays tricks, and it almost feels like the floor and ceiling have swapped, like people are walking above him.
He takes that little visual glitch, that perception shift, and just blows it up into a global catastrophe.
He realized the story couldn't just be about simple zero gravity, where people just float around like balloons.
We've been done.
Yeah, that's been done. To really make the ceiling become the floor, you need something more radical, a total, absolute reversal of that fundamental force.
Not zero. Something else.
Exactly. It's not just a lack of pull, it's an inverted pull. The force is now negative gravity, hence the title.
And the details he imagines, they are terrifyingly specific and cinematic, actually.
Completely. If this happened, the world's oceans wouldn't just slosh around. They would pour up and out into the outer atmosphere.
Yeah.
Just gone.
Instantly. And think about life on the surface. People, cars, horses, cattle, even whole trailer homes.
Everything not bolted down.
Right. They wouldn't just float gently upwards. They'd fall down, but into the open sky, hurled off the planet.
It's an existential threat driven by pure reversed physics. Just imagine that visual.
And he gives that example of a passenger plane maybe just taking off or landing.
Yeah, and suddenly the pilots realize the runway is above them and below. Just open sky, a fatal drop.
Wow. That's a masterclass in setting the tone right there.
Definitely. And the title, Negative Gravity,
Yeah.
it just perfectly captures that complete, terrifying reversal.
Okay, so let's pivot a bit. He has this massive concept, this epic story brewing, but then there's the production challenge.
The huge one.
How do you create a detailed storyboard for this whole world when you literally cannot hold a pencil? That practical hurdle, that's what makes this whole project just so remarkable.
And the solution he comes up with, it just speaks volumes about his sheer unbreakable commitment.
What's he do?
He decides he will draw, with a pencil clenched between his teeth, in his mouth. Yeah. And this is where his caregiver comes in, the one he calls Sonny Boy.
Right, Sonny Boy.
And this caregiver's role, it becomes so much more than just, basic care. He becomes the physical extension of the creator's will.
Like his hands, almost.
Exactly. His mission is vital, but simple. Get the supplies, the pencils, a 10x12 sketch pad, keep those pencils constantly sharp.
Which must have been a constant job.
Oh, I imagine. And maybe most importantly, as each page of the storyboard is finished, tack it up on the walls around the bed.
So the walls become his canvas, his progress tracker.
His gallery, yeah. his expanding universe, all visible from where he lies. It's quite poetic, actually.
And he's realistic about the art itself, isn't he? He knows it won't be what Michelangelo.
Right. He acknowledges his limitations there, but he has this faith, this belief that if the story, the narrative itself is powerful enough.
Then the drawings can achieve Picasso status.
Exactly. The vision is the real art, not necessarily the perfect line work. It's about conveying the idea.
What's really insightful, though, is how this whole physical act of creation, drawing with his mouth, is tied into his critique of the modern world, his philosophy.
Yeah, he has strong views on that. He argues that passive entertainment, especially things like video games, they kind of rob people of their ability to really dream.
How so?
He sees people just staring at screens like zombies, he says, just reacting reflexively to whatever's programmed in front of them.
Ah, okay, so it's about losing active imagination.
Precisely. He thinks it desensitizes people, especially to violence, and dulls that creative fire, that spark of original thought.
So for him, creating negative gravity isn't just telling a story, it's like an act of resistance.
A necessary active resistance against that passive consumption. It's a demand for pure, unadulterated imagination.
He really lives that ancient wisdom, doesn't he? He even quotes Confucius.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
And he is quite literally taking that step, or maybe that line, one mark at a time, with a pencil in his mouth. It's extraordinary.
So with that foundation laid, the creator's struggle and philosophy. Let's actually step into the story he starts sketching.
Okay, yeah. Where does it begin?
It jumps forward 1,000 years into the future. So this is long after the negative gravity event.
It's a catastrophe.
Right. This is set in an age of healing, an age of peace. And he starts sketching this really beautiful, almost pastoral scene. Rolling hills, a meadow.
Nice. Calm after the storm.
Very calm. Sheep grazing. He even throws a giraffe in there, enjoying the tranquility. A sense of nature restored.
But the real focus of this new world isn't just nature, it's intellectual, right?
Exactly. It
Yeah.
centers on this place called the Tree of Knowledge. He sketches this well-worn path made of white marble, leading up to a circular marble step pyramid, about 60 feet high, apparently, nestled right in the middle of the tree's heavy vines and foliage.
Sounds impressive.
And at the very top, there's a golden-crested sundial, a symbol of time and knowledge, maybe.
So who's there? Who inhabits this place?
This is where we meet the younger generation. And they seem dedicated to rebuilding knowledge, to learning. We see young men dressed in, like, classical Greek attire.
Okay, interesting choice.
Yeah, sitting in the lotus position, and they're having these really deep, scholarly conversations.
Not about everyday stuff, then.
Definitely not. Get this. They're debating things like the ancient gods of Rigel IV.
Wow, okay.
Big scope.
The huge war between races called the Krell and the Metalumen. Even the mating habits of the small grays of Zeta Reticuli.
So really esoteric, high-level sci-fi lore. They're serious scholars.
Totally. These details show us this era is obsessed with learning, deep history, intergalactic knowledge. It's the opposite of the passive consumption the creator criticized. But even in this peaceful, intellectual age, human nature creeps in.
Well, yeah. The piece seems maybe a little fragile, or at least teenage dynamics are still a thing. The capacity for, let's say, mild deception is still alive and well.
What's going on?
The boys seem really nervous about the young girls who are also there, specifically one named Minerva.
Minerva, like the Roman goddess of wisdom.
Seems intentional, right? And she's described as dangerous, not physically, but intellectually.
How so?
Apparently, she senses deception. And maybe even worse for these boys, she can read their thoughts if she catches their gaze.
Oh, boy. So, in this utopian future, the biggest threat to a teenage boy is getting busted for not doing his homework, basically. Or maybe slacking off.
Pretty much. They realize they haven't prepared, or maybe they just want to avoid her scrutiny, so they need a distraction.
Okay. They need to divert the attention of the main authority figure. Who's that?
The elder. He's the adult leading the session. Their plan is simple. Get the elder talking.
Keep him going for the whole session.
Right. Ask him one specific, really engaging question about the past. Something he'll get lost in explaining.
And the topic they choose.
The days of Jacob's troubles. A loaded term.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to know about the third age.
By setting the trap. So the session starts, the elder arrives. What's he like?
Similar attire to the kids, the classical Greek look. But he wears this ring, like a circlet of gleaming platinum on his head. And this ring holds a jewel so brilliant that its light sometimes actually obscures the elder's face.
Wow, like his knowledge is almost too bright to look at directly. Nice visual.
Yeah. And the boys, they execute their plan perfectly. Minerva starts reciting something.
And they jump in.
They interrupt her mid-flow. Smooth move, right? And they make their case. They argue that true knowledge, even if they're peaceful present, requires knowing the face of evil from the past.
A clever argument, actually. You need contrast to understand the light.
The elder seems reluctant. He questions why people dwelling in the light would want to actively probe the darkness of the past.
An understandable hesitation.
But they push the button. They asked about the third age, about Jacob's troubles. He feels compelled to answer.
And so he starts to reveal this history. What was the third age?
He confirms, yeah, the third age was Earth's final age.
Yeah.
Before whatever happened.
And it wasn't pretty.
Far from it. A time of immense corruption. He says the word of the Lord had been completely twisted by human lust, hate, greed. This is clearly the Creator's critique coming through.
His view of our time or the recent past, perhaps.
Seems like it. And he describes the geography of that age. Earth still had two frozen continents, North and South poles, separated by great oceans.
Okay.
But the northern hemisphere was just dominated by the industrial world. And it sounds grim. Factories constantly belching thick, black smoke into the skies, choking the planet.
And what powered this industrial machine?
This is where we get to the absolute heart of the corruption, the central failure of that past age. The machines ran on what the elder calls the Earth's black blood.
Oil.
Oil. And for that black blood, he says, men would wage endless wars across the entire globe.
Sounds familiar.
Depressingly so. They'd corrupt leaders in faraway lands, spread lies, propaganda, defile the names of good people, all for this resource.
So the third world, our world in the story, was basically consumed by this relentless self-destructive cycle. Greed, resource extraction, conflict.
Yeah, a world valuing money and power above everything else, which, in the Elder's telling, led inevitably to its collapse, both spiritually and physically.
So how does the history lesson end? What was the final verdict on this corrupt age?
The Elder delivers it straight. He says the Creator looked down, saw humanity's weakness, this endless cycle of greed, and decided to punish them.
But not in the usual ways.
Right. He specifically says the punishment this time wasn't the familiar, almost expected elemental destruction. Not ice, not fire, not flood.
So, what then?
The Elder concludes, very cryptically, this time the Great Eternal would use a stone.
A stone. Wow. Okay.
That single powerful line. It snaps us right back to those parallel stories we've been tracing, doesn't it?
It really does. On one side, you have the Creator himself, physically bound, absolutely paralyzed, yet proving that the human spirit, the imagination, just cannot be contained or immobilized.
And on the other side, you have this huge imaginative universe he gives birth to from that struggle. A universe that serves as both, like a stark warning about past corruption.
Our corruption, fueled by black blood.
And also a vision for a future. A peaceful future, maybe, but fragile, guarded, focused on knowledge, maybe as a shield against repeating the past.
And the act of creating the story itself, negative gravity, that becomes his journey to Ithaca, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a spiritual homecoming. Not achieved by sailing seas or fighting monsters physically, but through pure, focused imagination. Proving that even when the body is confined, the mind can still literally turn the whole world upside down.
So the lesson for you, listening, might be, what's your own personal gravity? What holds you down? And what power do you have, maybe just in your mind, to reverse it?
Yeah, that's a powerful takeaway. But let's leave you with the Elder's final, really provocative thought, that ending to his history lesson.
Right. We've talked about the third world, our world, torn apart by wars for black blood, for oil. The punishment wasn't fire or blood.
But a single object. The Great Eternal would use a stone.
What could that possibly mean? What kind of stone ends the world? And specifically, what kind of stone could be powerful enough to completely reverse Earth's entire gravitational field?
That's the question to chew on. That final cataclysmic detail. What was the stone? Mull on that.
We'll see you for the next deep dive.